Andrew has no choice this time. He really is in a corner, and he really has to do what the thing that is expected of him, and that he has to fall on his sword, and he has to comply with his brother's wishes, regardless of what he might feel inside, or regardless of whether he is guilty or innocent. He has to comply with this, and there is no choice. When there's no choice, you step back. I think that Andrew is always been too entitled. He's too he's attracted to, as his father said, seedy billionaires. Um, he he doesn't have the strength of character to deal with these kind of people, and I think basically he's turned out to be a complete disaster. As far as I can see at the moment, Andrew has no future. The only future he has is a future that will be of his own making. And if he was perhaps prepared to be more humble and say, look, I have made a complete mess of my life, and I had more opportunities than anyone probably in this world will ever have, or ever has been able to have. And I've really messed up. I think I'm going to go and, you know, go and farm and go and make something good out of my life, and go and create something quietly and away from the public eye. That's really the only thing that he could do, I think. Sitting in Royal Lodge watching television and riding around the Windsor estate is not going to get him anywhere. He has to make the decision, say, right, I've messed up and I'm going to try and mend my life, because there's many, many people before him that have done so. There's been so much news in the last 48 hours.
4 years, the Duke of York has been at the centre of controversy, but now, even his closest allies admit, he's his own worst enemy. Prince Andrew, once the Queen's favoured son, has traded royal dignity for the company of the world's most questionable billionaires. This is the story of arrogance, indulgence, and the slow destruction of a royal future. Andrew's reputation was once anchored in naval heroics and royal duty, but after his disastrous BBC Newsnight interview and his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, that image collapsed overnight. The royal charm turned to royal shame. Insiders say Andrew was drawn to the extravagant, the private jets, the secret islands, the billionaire lifestyle. From Epstein to other shadowy financiers, he surrounded himself with people who could feed his ego and fund his luxury. In doing so, he didn't just lose his royal titles, he lost his credibility. Behind palace walls, the message was clear: Andrew was out. King Charles III has made no secret of his intent to streamline the monarchy, and there's simply no place for scandal or entitlement. The Queen shielded him for years, but with her passing, that royal protection is gone. Public sentiment is brutal. Opinion polls show record lows in support for the Duke of York. Once a familiar face at charity galas, Andrew is now met with silence and sometimes open hostility. Many say he's not just embarrassed himself, he's tarnished the entire institution. Even his attempts at quiet rehabilitation have failed. Royal watchers believe that any public comeback is impossible. The arrogance that once defined him now isolates him. The Duke of York's future? A royal in exile, not by geography, but by reputation. In chasing the glitter of billionaire circles, Prince Andrew has lost the gold of royal honor. His arrogance blinded him, his choices condemned him, and his legacy, once full of promise, now lies in ruins. This is Royal Saga, the truth behind the titles.
All of it pertaining to Prince Andrew. And we realize, everyone knows that every time there's going to be a whisper of scandal, somehow or other it's going to be related to him. And however arrogant and regal Prince Andrew might be, he's totally aware that it is damaging to his brother, the king. And it is. And so Andrew and his brother obviously were both under pressure. And also the rest of the royal family, they kind of stood by Andrew as a family would when someone's in a lot of trouble. And they obviously talked about it. Apparently they all talked about it together, and they all decided that Andrew really had to do the honourable thing and relinquish his titles himself rather than be pushed to relinquish them. We know, and presumably Andrew knows too, that this is not the end of it. This is going to go on, and it's going to be a drip feed, and it is damaging to the monarchy. It is damaging to his brother, and Andrew's always said that, you know, that the monarchy is very important to him. Well, it's enabled him to you know, have the life that he has, and the titles and everything that he had. And I think there was no alternative but for him to fall on his sword. And I think that brother Charles, the king, allowed him to look at least honourable in this one instance. If Charles had said, right, you've got to go, and Andrew had fought against it, it would have looked terrible. So I think he had to do the honourable thing and fall on his sword. But the interesting thing is, Ethan, that he's only said that these titles are in abeyance. And at the end of the statement, he reiterated that he very much felt that, you know, he was still not his words, these are my words, he was still the innocent party, and he was still denying the fact that he ever abused Virginia Giuffre, although he didn't say it in those words, but I mean, that was the message. So even after all this and the latest Epstein email, which has really made all this happen, he's still saying, you know, that I am an innocent. And I think that he obviously believes that in his own mind, and I think that his, you know, most of his family probably believe it. So, and they know more than we do, but they could also see that he was incredibly damaging to the monarchy. And if you read the comments and things that people say, I mean, he is despised. He certainly was. He was harming his brother, the king, because it made King Charles look weak. I mean, you know, people were saying, you know, why can't the king do something about it? He's the king, after all. And this is his younger brother. He has to be the one to take the stand. But because Charles is a very honourable and kind man, he made it look as if it was Andrew's decision. Now, we will probably, maybe we will know whose decision it was, but I don't think that Charles would have had to push Andrew too hard to make him make this decision. I don't think Andrew for one moment is happy with this, because he values titles and honours, especially the Order of the Garter. He values them so much, as we have seen. And he's never shy to, you know, even in that last email to Epstein, when he said, you know, we're in this together, he signed himself off, you know, Duke of York, and then, you know, the Knight of the Order of the Garter. So he likes a title, and he likes people to respect him for who he is. And he's made that very plain over the years. And I think that Charles is being kind to him by making it appear that it's all him. And I believe that Prince William had something, you know, had an involvement in this, as he would, as a, you know, potentially, hopefully, a future monarch. So it's quite serious stuff. But in the end, Andrew hasn't actually lost these titles. They've been put into abeyance, which is quite a clever way around all this. Well, I think once you've lied about something once, the consensus of opinion is that you've lied about everything. So we probably don't believe a word that Prince Andrew says. And that is what's important. You know, he is a man without honour, without reputation, and therefore he is damaging to his brother, the king.